Welcome, y'all. It's Wes with DIY Food Plot Pro. Thank you so much for joining us. Standing out in one of my fall plots that I'm getting ready to plant. I'm going to be planting this as a full tillage broadcast and cultipack to get a fall food plot established in here. I'm going to plant some annuals. I'm going to be planting some Kentucky Pride Crimson, some Frosty Berseem, and some turnips and some radishes in here as well. And then I'll come back later and layer this with cereal rye and winter wheat. I wanted to discuss some of our planting techniques and which ones are the most successful, which ones are a little bit more prone to having everything perfect to be able to have that perfect food plot that we're all looking for. DIY Food Plot Pro is sponsored by Aircrow LLC, the Plot Protector Pro. Keep whitetails and other animals out of your food plots with the Plot Protector Pro. My name is Wes. I run the channel DIY Food Plot Pro. I've got a Bachelor of Science in Agronomy. I farm for a living, and I've got a 2,900 acre whitetail deer hunting outfitter in Western Kentucky where we cannot bait. So we rely heavily on these food plots that I produce on the channel to hunt and harvest the whitetails that we're blessed to hunt here in Western Kentucky. I came out this morning and worked this ground. I took a disc over it, hit it 3 or 4 times. You can see that I purposely left screening. There's 3 different screens throughout this 1.5 acre food plot. All that is to break down sight. I don't like to have it where bucks can come on the edge of a plot and look in, see the entire plot, and roll on, okay? So I either want him to use his nose where I'm gonna be positioned, or I want him to have to physically come out here and check all 3 of these plots. And plus there is a lot of evidence showing the importance of these deer having a little less pressure as far as not as many deer being visible in one huge large plot. So that's the reason for the screenings. All that is just natural stuff that I let grow all summer long. Came in and sprayed this, and now I've disked it 3 or 4 times to where we're at today. What I wanted to talk about today was the planting methods. I want us to be the most successful that we possibly can with these fall food plots. I think there's a lot of folks that would like to hear me talk about what planting methods and why, and what's the best way to get the most amount of success on these fall food plots. In my opinion, the very best way to get a fall food plot established is with a drill. Now, we all know that no-till drills are extremely expensive. A lot of us don't have them. A lot of us can't justify them with the amount of acres that we have. I plant a tremendous amount of acres every year as food plots, and I don't have a no-till drill. It's something that I hope to have one day, but as of right now, I can't really justify spending that kind of money on a no-till drill. A no-till drill is really good because it puts the seed down in the soil. It protects that seed from animals. It also protects that seed from those 1/10 inch rains that can really be detrimental to a full broadcast plot. A no-till planter works by, it's essentially a controlled spill. The wheels turn and it drops seed out. The coulters are cutting a trench. The seed falls into the trench, the closing wheels close it up. Okay, so the seed's tucked away, waiting enough moisture to be germed. I planted a bunch of stuff last year with a no-till drill, everything from alfalfa to brassicas to clover, and got a really good stand on all of them. It's probably the best stand that I've ever had consistently across the board. The no-till drill is no doubt a very easy and simple way to do it. Is you don't have to pay as much attention to the thatch. If I'm coming out here and I've got a deep layer of thatch, or even if I wanted to drill in to one of these screens, I could do that. Those drills are heavy and they're gonna get that seed to soil contact that is needed, where we couldn't do that if we were just coming out here and broadcasting. If you just try to broadcast into that, you're gonna have very, very bad luck doing that more often than not. Once again, a lot of us don't have the drills, so what's the best method for a lot of us guys that don't have those no-till drills? That leaves us 2 options. One, we can do a full broadcast no-till. So we just go out there and we just broadcast it on top of the ground and we hope for rain. The rain comes, it washes it in, it gets the plant going. Or we can do what I've done here, which is a full tillage using either a tiller or a disc. We physically work the ground, we expose the ground, we sow into it, we cultipack over top of it to bury the seed down in the soil, and essentially we're the same as no-till at that point. The second best way, in my opinion, to get the most success out of a fall plot is going to be this right here. It's going to be the tillage, because it guarantees us seed to soil contact. That's such an important part in this process, is making sure that seed is sitting directly on that soil. And then at that point we drive over it, or we cultipack over it. It pushes that seed down in the ground, and all of a sudden it's completely viable, and it's just going to sit there and wait until it gets that rain event that can germ that seed up, and the plant's going to take off. At that point, you don't have to worry about those 1/10 of an inch rains so much. We are so dry, a 1/10 of an inch is barely going to wet the very top of the ground at this point. It's not going to soak in enough to be able to germ seeds that are down in the soil. For most of our fall stuff, brassicas, annual clovers, we're only looking at less than a 1/2 inch deep. Most of the time about a 1/4 inch deep is the correct depth that we're looking for on those small seeded fall plots. Now, something like oats, cereal rye, we can go a little bit deeper. We can even go down to 3/4 of an inch, or maybe even an inch, still be okay. I still like to shoot for that 1/2 inch range. So the problem with the full broadcast with no tillage is all the stars kind of have to line up, if that makes sense. If the stars don't line up perfect, then the plot has a very high rate of failure. As I've spoken in a lot of my videos, it's not really a huge deal, because we can go back and we can fill that in later on with cereal rye, winter wheat, or buck forage oats. Fill all these thin spots in. But if you are 100% relying solely on fall food plots, we don't really want to have to go back and fill in. The very best scenario is to work the ground if you don't have a no-till drill. No question about it, you will have more success doing that than you would if you're just coming out here and just broadcast it on top. If I'm broadcasting on top, I'm adding an extra 10%, and I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to bank on that cereal rye coming in later on, and going to use that to fill in a lot of the thin spots. There's going to be thin spots. Where areas where there's really thick thatch, you're not going to get seed to soil contact like you would in a piece of ground like behind me, where you can very easily see the soil. You see the soil, you're getting seed to soil contact. You can't see the soil, you don't have seed to soil contact. It's going to be very, very difficult to get that plot to be as good as a plot that's either no-till drilled, or a plot that's conventionally been worked and sowed down. And I've had a bunch of people reach out and ask me about this right here, and wanted to know, okay, hey, I understand the soil building, I understand the food plots. What's my best way to not have a failure on my fall food plots? And this is what I recommend. As long as you get the rain, if you till, you have very high odds of getting a successful fall food plot established. So the rains are key in all three of the timings. It's just a matter of the other two, no-till drill and the conventional till, you have a little bit more wiggle room, because your seed is actually down in the soil, and those little 1/10 or 1/4 inch rain showers aren't going to try to get that stuff germing where there's nothing below it. So what happens, that plant starts growing, the roots are trying to grow down where there's no moisture there, because the seed got wet, it germed, it's sending the root down, but there's no moisture here. Where if it's down in the ground, the likelihood is you got a decent rain, it's going to recharge a little bit of the soil, and then that plant is going to have some moisture to tap into. It's going to be able to survive some of those drier spells that may or may not happen after that initial germination. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Y'all smash that like and subscribe button.